Today's special guest is a game animator, programmer, and artist, as well as a film and stage actor, a writer, a producer, and pretty much a jack of all trades when it comes to creating entertainment for all of us to enjoy. Ladies and gentlemen, please, for the first time, please welcome to the show the multi-talented Scott Butler.
Hello. Can you see me?
We can't see you, Scott.
Can you hear me okay?
We can hear you.
I'm right in front of the camera. I don't know what's going on there.
I see Star Wars helmets.
Yeah.
I don't see you though.
Weird. Hold on a second. Let me try turning the camera off and on again.
If you'd like us to talk to the helmets, I mean, we would be happy to. I don't know if.
I guess I'm a vampire. I'm invisible. That's interesting.
I know. When I saw you backstage, I saw you on screen. I don't know what happened. I don't know if your camera froze.
Yeah, it's saying that my camera's being used by another app. That's very strange. Let me hop out and hop back in again.
No worries. We can definitely stretch.
Let's do a take two.
All right. Second take. That is a very relevant joke from this week.
Definitely. That's our very relevant joke every week.
Yeah.
Let's really not just limit it to this week.
Right. But I mean, like doing a second take of the show. That's
oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, that was a very yeah.
Hey guys, if you guys were not watching live this week, if you were listening to the episode and you didn't watch live, this week's episode, we had so many technical difficulties at the beginning of the show that we just decided live on air we're gonna do a take two, and this is what happens.
Yeah, Phil's computer decided it didn't like him anymore and just like cut him out of everything. So Stu and I were trying to open the show without anything, and we did pretty good.
Yeah, it was
we needed all the bells and whistles.
All right, James. Yeah, his helmets were pretty legit, and I'm excited to talk about that as well. Once we get him back here, just because again, we've got a whole fun interview lined up for Scott here.
Now, so the dessert that we got, I have to tell you about the dessert.
Okay.
Look, I just had it and I really love it. So I'm telling you, it's called, what did we say? Hoteki? Hoteki.
I just heard me in the background. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a pancake, but it's like made out of rice.
Ooh.
And it's a pancake and they fry it and they put peanut, like a peanut butter spread and honey.
Oh, stop it.
So yeah, it's like a flattened sopapilla almost with peanut butter and honey on it.
Oh man.
It's so good.
So good.
It is so good. And it's not rich. And the honey is better for you than the sugar. So
right.
Yeah,
more protein, and it also helps with like sinuses and stuff in local environments. I'm gonna be printing a Scout Trooper helmet for my Halloween costume. Nice. Mock, we definitely want to see that if you get a chance. We'd love to see that in one of our one of our social media things on there. James, gotta ask him about Santa Maria Con. I think Rob from Capitola Collecticon put it on. Nice. Stormer Chew, how's it going? James, what up, Storm Hotel? Okay.
Yeah. There we go. Oh my goodness. It has been like I swear I've done so much. Well, just the last couple of days.
Yeah.
So much.
Oh, I think I see him here. Hold on.
Yay!
Oh, there we go.
There he is.
Is that looking okay? I'm stuttering a little bit. That's weird.
Yeah, there's a little bit of a stutter, but we see you here though.
It's amazing. I can make video games for 36 years, but I can't get a stupid Zoom call to work. That is strange. It's requiring that my camera uses Elgato Camera Hub to run while doing this, and I think it's causing it to glitch, which is weird.
That is weird.
Oh, that is a weird.
This is why I jump in early on these calls, but I guess it didn't really help too much. So, if I close that now, does it still work? No. Oh.
The camera back, but
maybe if I just stay dead still the whole time, you won't even notice the glitching.
Oh my gosh.
Works for us. maybe it'll fix itself over time.
What's that?
Yeah,
try and fix it one more time.
Fix itself over time.
Yeah, it might do. It might do. It's weird.
If it really gets, if it annoys you after a couple questions, then we'll give time.
Okay.
You'll have non-glitchy time. Well, I promise.
Yeah. I've used Zoom a lot, but I haven't used this one, so this one's clearly needs a bit of learning.
Yeah, this one is
Yeah.
mostly it's OBS based, so it's just a
Oh.
browser OBS system. That's getting technical for everybody else here, though. So let's jump into this. We're happy to have you on, Scott. This is a long time coming. We've been talking about this for at least the last 6 months now, and I'm happy to have you on the show. So before we get you get into your story and learn more about you, we have a segment on our show called Growing Up Geeky. What did you geek out on when you were a kid growing up in Croydon?
Everything. I mean, I grew up in the right age to grow up with Star Wars. As you can see, the helmet's behind me.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
I still apparently have in my mum's attic 120 original figures in a box somewhere with my Millennium Falcon, my Twin Pod Cloud cars, my AT-ATs, all the other stuff, and
Wow.
I think I was 5 when the first movie came out. It was 77, wasn't it?
77,
Mhm.
So yeah, I was 5. Sorry, this glitching is annoying, isn't it? Yeah, I grew up on that, and then around the age of like 11, I got introduced to by somebody buying me a series of books in the UK called Fighting Fantasy, which I think the closest thing you guys might have had was Choose Your Own Adventure.
Oh yeah. I love
know
Choose
that?
Your Own Adventure books. I
Yeah.
love
Yeah.
them.
Well, you
David
basically.
Cornsweat's grandfather is the one that actually created the Choose Your Own Adventure books.
Oh,
just so
really?
you know that.
So
Yeah.
connection is Superman.
Interesting. Yeah, I remember getting the first one I got was a book called Space Assassin, and it was the first time I've ever had a book that you play. You get like the little intro, and then it's like you're now on paragraph 1. You're in this situation. If you want to do this, turn to this page. If you want to do that, turn to that page. And my imagination just started growing from there. And I was like, wow, this is fascinating. It had some illustrations, but you would sort of block in more like visuals that weren't illustrated, and it just really sort of made your imagination grow, and it was amazing.
Oh, that's awesome, man. I mean, that whole concept. I love Choose Your Own Adventures, and I mean, like for a while, Goosebumps was doing that too. They had a couple of like Choose Your Own Adventure like style stories. That's kind of what got me into that. But like when I learned that there was a larger swath of those books, that I was like, oh man, I'm getting into this.
Yeah.
I think that like led to D&D and led to like more like creator and creative driven games and things.
Yeah, definitely. I started playing games around that time too. I think I went around my friend's house, and he had a Commodore VIC-20, which was before the Commodore 64.
Right.
And he had a game called Sub Hunt, where you got little graphic going along. You got to do you bomb stuff or you pick up stuff? I forget what it was, but I was just like, what is this? This is a portal into a new world. And that was it. I was like seeking out a new computer, and I started playing games within that year. The first computer I got didn't work. I sent that back, and then I got another one. That one did work, and I still have the successor to that computer in my drawer over there, which looks ancient now. It's from like 1983, I think. So yeah,
that's not ancient. That's not ancient.
That's true.
That's ancient.
I'm saying that's ancient because the other day some people were referring to stuff in the 90s as vintage. Oh, it was Pokemon cards.
No,
Pokemon cards.
Stop.
Oh man.
And I was like, 95 is vintage now? I was in my 20s.
I've got Pog
right?
if you really want to get into that. So I mean.
No, I think we're probably about the same age, to be honest. Because I remember being 5 when Star Wars came out. So
yeah, I'm a 72 baby. So yeah.
Oh, me too. So yeah.
June?
That's awesome. February. I'm a little older than you. Well, I like younger guys. My husband's 6 weeks younger than me, so I say I like younger guys. So.
I'm in a good phase. Okay, all right, cool.
There we go. Yeah, we're all in the same realm. I'm the youngest one on here for the first time ever, but typically that's
right. Be nice to your elders.
Yeah, typically that's should do for the first time ever. I'm the youngest one on the stream, so it's like
enjoy it.
So yeah, you famously mentioned that the bug that bit you and sparked a lifelong love for stage and screen was playing Flying Jesus.
Well, you kind of gave away the punchline now.
Right.
Because
Oh,
that was
gosh.
the punchline to a ridiculous story.
I mean, we could still tell the story, man. Like,
it's still ridiculous and fun.
Mhm.
Yeah, I was probably 6 or 7 years old in my sort of junior school. We call it like primary school, and it was a nativity play for school. And I was very excited because I got to play the lead role of Jesus. And my first crush was played by a girl called. My first crush was a girl called Joanne who played Mary. And we had this little, for the night of the performance, there's like 200 parents there. We had this little wooden stage that was about 15 feet wide, polished wooden stage with stairs either side of it. And I was so eager to run up on the stage and deliver my first line. And unfortunately, the tunic they gave me, the clothing, was too long for me by about a good foot. And when I ran up the stairs so fast and so eager, I tripped on my very first entrance, went up in the air, landed on the stage like on my belly, slid across the stage like a seal, went down the other steps on my belly, went through the legs and under the chair of the principal, who said, "Mr. Butler, get out from underneath my chair henceforth." I shimmied out, bright red-faced. All the parents were laughing and falling off their chairs. And I got nicknamed Flying Jesus for 3 years after that. So I jokingly say that that's sort of the reason why it took me another 30 years to try acting again. It's not really the reason, but it's kind of a good story for it.
Oh,
It's
man.
amazing. Much better than my first acting experience. So I
Really?
refused to kiss the boy that was playing Santa. I was playing mommy because I saw mommy kissing Santa Claus, and I refused to kiss that boy because I didn't like him. And so I went to the chorus, and then he got sick, and then the boy I did like was him, and I was like, wait, I want to be mommy again, and they were like, no, you have to stay at the chorus. So that was mine. I didn't get my big moment. So when I was
I love
mommy.
that. I
There
love
you go.
it.
It's so good. So
Yeah.
how growing up in
Bill, do you want to share?
share what my first acting experience?
Yeah, tell all.
God, I gotta really think back to my first acting experience. I was also a kid when I first started getting into acting and everything like that. I did like one of those in between commercials between like a cartoon and like the network, and we were on the network and do the whole, you are now watching whatever channel you're doing. So it's for the WB back before it was, what is it now? It's CW, right? So back when it was still
Yeah.
WB, right? It's like, you are now watching the WB, and that was it. But I mean, like, I think being on set and being in the studio was like the weirdest feeling for me. My first like regular acting experience would have been, we did a lot of indie films in high school, and that my buddy would do. And I remember I played Arnold Schwarzenegger in a variety show that we did.
Oh, awesome. I love
Yeah.
that.
And it was back when he was the governor. So the governor basically using really bad high school level CG. Basically the idea was I stand up from like the Terminator
Bend over pose when you first emerged.
but I'm wearing clothes, right? I just get up
Okay.
and walk over to the podium and go, hi, you have questions? Yeah. And it was just basically like me just clowning around, like answering questions. And I remember one of them now is actually, scarily enough, something that is actually a proposal, but like I made jokes about, oh, I'm gonna fix the economy, we're gonna take over Canada, and Canada is gonna be the next part of California. It's just, but a lot of it
That's a good accent. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good impression.
So like that was probably one of my favorite things out of all like the little variety things we did. And then I didn't really do much acting after that until I got back into voice acting. And I played the first role I played a squirrel on a web show.
A squirrel.
Yes, I played a squirrel on a web show, and I tried to play like my most over caffeinated character that I could ever do. Right, so it's just like, what do you mean? What's going on? I'm just trying to get to the next place. Things like that, just like really overly anxious. And my favorite thing so far is something more recent. I played Deadpool in a Deadpool versus John Wick short, and 90% of that was improv, and it's absolutely hilarious. You guys can find that on YouTube right now.
I have got to see that.
Yeah, if you type in Deadpool
Okay.
versus John Wick, so that's my plug there. And
Nice.
but I
It's
digress. I
cute.
talk too much about myself. We got to go back to you, Scott. So
Oh my God. Scott's the guest here,
but
Phil.
I
I
know.
asked your first acting first, not your resume, not your CV. No, okay, this is how we do. I apologize, Scott. I apologize. I
No,
was a
I love
little
it. I
mean.
love it.
So being that you grew up in Croydon, right, in Southeast London, how did that shape your view on acting?
Well, so yeah, I was born in Croydon. We grew up just a little bit out of there in Kent, sort of near Bromley. And the school I went to after that Flying Jesus incident was a school called Ravenswood School for Boys that famously had David Bowie there 20 years before me. My music teacher, Mr. Lane, was also his music teacher, would tell us stories about him being a little rascal running around school. And they would have obviously drama classes and stuff, like, they had a pretty good curriculum there. So there was a drama class, and I don't know what age I was, probably about 12 or 13, when I don't know what triggered it, but there was sort of potential interest. Maybe I'd mentioned it to my mum. I remember I still embarrassingly have this puppet. I have a monkey puppet, like a little sort of black monkey puppet, that when I was a kid, my dad would fall about laughing when I do like little sort of like scenes and things with it. I would do the tango with it. So I'd grab its hand and sort of like dun 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 dun, da, 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 and I do all this kind of crazy stuff. And my dad was just falling about, and maybe he suggested it, because he said you're kind of funny and silly. And so I went to this drama class. I signed up for it at school, and I distinctly remember walking into this class, and I was a very shy kid. Even though I was goofy and that around people that I was comfortable with, like family, I was very shy in general.
Right.
And I walked into this class, and these kids, just their personalities were huge. Their charisma, their confidence, everything. And I sat as far buried in the corner of the room as I could squeeze myself up into for like 10 minutes. And I just ran out of there, and I never went back. And I'm always kicking myself for that, but it's just the way I was back then. Yeah.
Young actors especially can be a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I remember my
So
mum.
I get it.
Yeah, definitely. And I remember my mum finding something in the newspaper. It was for a pretty big film, actually. I want to say it was that kids version of Bugsy Malone, where they're firing custard Tommy guns.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. I think I think it's called Bugsy Malone.
Do
It's
you remember that?
Scott
Yeah.
Baio was in it, and what's her name? Not Jodie Foster, but the other one. That
Yeah.
little darlings one. But she was in it, and and it was all kids, but they were all like supposed to be adult gangsters, and instead of
Yeah.
killing people, they threw pies at them and stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you got
I
like the
remember
little kids
that.
wearing the mustaches and
Bugsy
things.
Malone. Bugsy Malone was the movie. Yeah,
I
I
think that
remember
was
that. I
it.
thought that was the best movie.
I could be
Yeah,
wrong, but I
Phil's gonna be
think
left out a lot of these. He doesn't have any
yeah.
idea.
This particular thing, I usually know a lot of this stuff. I'm actually unfamiliar with this one.
Well, you're younger. That might be why.
I am.
Also, it's quite an obscure film. I mean, it was well known at the time, but I don't know. I could be wrong here, but I don't know if it stood the test of time as being a watched movie. I don't know, but
It
it is
was
very unique.
really popular with kids.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
from
Like,
1976.
the
So I mean, this
gangster
is not
stuff
so far out.
were yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
Scott
yeah, yeah.
Baio was
It
in
was
this? Oh my God.
yeah, he plays like the main guy. And it was before his Chachi days. Are you kidding me?
What year was it?
78 or was it 76? Hold on, let me see.
Oh, it might not have been it then, because I would have been too young. I don't know.
Yeah, this is 76.
Maybe it was a planned sequel or something. I don't know, but there was some casting for something like that, and it was mentioned to my dad. It was in the newspaper. They were like looking for boys, and I know some of the kids from my school did the audition. I think actually got a couple of parts in it, and unfortunately my dad procrastinated, and I never went to the audition because he's the only one who drove.
Yeah, so I've never seen this, but I'm familiar with a lot of these images, though.
Yeah. It could have been something else.
It was known, but it was like back then there weren't movies like every year. There wasn't like so much. So like I remember I watched it, but I probably I know they had kids there. They had babies in it. Like it was probably that.
Yeah, the kids were playing
They were
adults and
just
the
like,
babies were
we need.
playing kids, probably.
Yeah, that's what it was. So it was, but it
Yeah.
was, yeah, I remember that. Yeah. Well, that's
And there
so
was a
cool.
music video too. There was a music video in the newspaper that I wanted to try out for. They wanted a bunch of kids, you know, running around. I think they were in like a school setting or something. But yeah, nothing ever happened. And then 5 years after that, well, no, that'd be 3 years after that, because that was 13, is when I got into games, you know, as a career. So that's kind of why it didn't really sort of continue.
Yeah, I mean,
Like, no, I'll create all this. I don't need to be in the spotlight. I'll just make everything happen.
Yeah, literally across the road from my house, it was like, you know, 30-second walk, is a little sort of town hall or communal hall or something. And a friend of mine said that there's a computer club there now, and it's been there for a little while. And because we were playing games and into computers, we should go there. And so it was one of those things where you lug your computer, your monitor, and everything, which back then was hard because these were CRT monitors. They were small, but they were heavy.
Yeah.
You know, and you lug it across there, and then you you know, hang out with other kids that are playing games, and you sort of make friends and stuff. And I will admit there was a bit of copying of games going on, but there are also people playing games. And for me, what I would do is I would do artwork. So with the mouse, I wasn't using a stylus. With the mouse, I would paint artwork, you know, in deluxe paint on the Commodore Amiga. And I did this painting, hand painting of the cover of Madonna's True Blue album cover, where she's got the Marilyn Monroe hair with the jacket off the shoulders and the short blonde hair. And I just liked the image. I thought it was interesting. It was striking. And for some reason, I decided to hand paint it when I was 15, 16. I showed it to some friends at that age in the club. And then a guy came up, said, you know, oh, did you paint this? Do you have anything else? And I showed him some other bits and pieces. Like I made up some mock games, you know, like, oh, here's what a shoot 'em up could look like with a cool boss that I designed or something. And he says, do you want a job in games? And I was like, I don't know. I work at Safeways in the grocery store. I was like, I guess so. Yeah.
I worked at Safeway too, so I get it, man.
Oh, did you? Nice, Safeway brothers.
Yeah. Boom. I worked night crew at Safeway for many years.
I bet you my pay was way, way, way less than yours.
Probably.
My pay was £1.53 an hour, which is about $1.75 an hour.
Yeah.
I win.
A lot less than mine. The money could go a lot longer, a lot further back then, though.
Yeah. I remember after 6 months, they gave me a letter, said they gave me an extra 7p an hour, which is like an extra 9 cents an hour. Anyway, I digress. So I told my mum about it. She said, you should do it. You like art, you like games. I mean, this is a win-win. The pay was very small, but it was a step into that world. And I was living at home, so you didn't really care too much about money. And my dad, you know, told him about it. He was unsure. He said, I think this beep, beep, beep games thing is a fad and will be gone in 2 years, son.
He was completely right. No, he was right. You know, games are a fad. No, nobody.
They are. They've gotten absolutely nowhere since, you know.
Nowhere.
People are lucky to make $10 out of them. No.
I was literally playing Assassin's Creed before the interview, man. So, I mean,
right, that's it. So he was wanting me to take over someday his printing company, which ironically the printing industry went down.
Right.
So he did admit to me before he passed that I chose a good decision there. But yeah, I started the following year because I had to finish my exams first. That was the agreement. Get your exams finished, start at 17 the following year. So that's when I started.
Man, that's
awesome.
crazy. And I mean, moving into kind of into your gaming kind of career here, not kind of bearing the lead, not leaving this out, but you were the lead artist on Croc, the Legend of Gobos, before going into acting full time. Which for me, when I first saw this, I saw this when I met you the first time, but I was like, you know, Croc was a big game for me in '97 because it was like, you know, it was a game that kind of was unique amongst like all the different platformers that were out there. And I really enjoyed that game. Did you have any aspirations to be an artist full time before going into acting at all?
Yeah, I mean, you know, I was doing art on my computer. The acting didn't come until much later. I was in my mid-late 30s when I sort of really started acting. So I was an artist for many years from the beginning at 17. And then as time went on, I became more senior. Then I accepted the job as a lead artist where I was still doing art, which was cool, but I was doing a lot more administration. And then eventually it got to being like art director, art manager at PlayStation, where you're doing no art. And then that was okay for a while, but then eventually I was like, man, I miss doing artwork. So I'm still kind of in that situation. I still work in games in conjunction with acting. And I'm a technical artist, which I do enjoy, because technical artists, you do a lot of problem solving, which I enjoy. You have to sort of know a bit of everything. You have to be a generalist, which is how we made games back then, because oftentimes we were the only artists making the whole game. So you had to learn everything. But, you know, part of me still misses creating stuff. And I think that's where acting sort of has sort of filled that, you know, to sort of fill that bug, like to get that bug back, like to feel like you're doing something really crazy. Also is a good excuse to get me out of the house, because especially since the pandemic, I still work from home. So I'm at home, I work from home. It's like, you know, need to get out. Yeah.
Right.
Acting as a social device. There you go. That's exactly how you should do
it. It is too, like meeting people, you know, every job you do is vastly different, you know. So I enjoy that.
You meet a lot of different people on different sets and crew, and you know, and then when you see them again on a different set, it's like, oh hey, remember, you know, and you have, yeah, it's nice. It's like going to a party.
It is. It's always bittersweet when you rap, isn't it? It's like
it is.
It's like, oh, well, that was fun, and now the fun stops, you know, until the next thing with something else. So it's always a weird one. Like, you know, the full-time games job, you're working with people year after year, and you build really good sort of connections and relations. And then with acting, you have, you know, hopefully a wonderful time, and then you're like, well, keep in touch, and I'll see you at the after party or whatever, the rap party. But you're like, oh, well, I don't know if I'll work with you guys again. You know, best of luck. And it's always
right. And it's like 5 years later, you're like, oh, like that kind of, yeah. What have you been doing? I saw you on this. This is great. You know, that kind of stuff. Yeah.
So it's a funny old industry. It's so different from games, because, you know, it's a sit down at a desk job, full-time job, you know, and then acting, you're constantly, doesn't matter where you're at, you're always constantly running around, sort of trying to, like, you know, figure out what the next step is, you know.
Hurry up and wait, though, too. Like you get there and you plant yourself, and then it's like, okay, we'll be ready for you in like 3 hours, and you're like, okay, let me read my book,
I'll be
or whatever
here.
you're doing, you know.
I'll be here. Were there any skills or experiences that you pulled from your work in the gaming industry that helped shape your acting at all, or like anything that was like,
oh yeah. There was a weird one that happened. So
okay, we want all the weird stories, so please.
Yeah, I was doing this really cool horror film by my friend Jason Horton, called The Campus, and it was sort of like a last minute booking where they needed somebody to fill out a role. And I'd worked with the VFX guy who was working on this film and another film prior to that. And he said, oh, you know, Scott, I think you'd be really good for this. This one is like a supernatural character. You're sort of a henchman spawned by the devil to go hunt down this girl and try to take a piece of her soul. What's that?
Is it the executioner?
Sorry, say it again.
Is it the executioner?
Oh, no. Well, I mean,
camper.
Yeah, he's like a mask. Yeah, kind of. I mean, he's like a masked character, full face mask. I'm just looking through one eye hole, and this is the first time I'd done an acting role where I couldn't rely on facial expressions,
right,
to sort of perform. So I realized that everything was either in the head tilt or the shoulders down. And there's this scene where I'm chasing the actress, who's a great friend of mine. She's super talented, Rachel Amanda Bryant. She's being chased by myself and another guy who's also like me. And I've got this big knife. It's like that long. And it's kind of like hanging out the side just to catch like the glint of light so that it looks real kind of menacing. And I'm chasing her down this sort of like dead end alleyway. And she gets to sort of the dead end and thinks for a moment she's like, you know, she's now in trouble. And then she realizes the door behind her actually is unlocked, and she gets in and closes the door and locks it in a kind of like screw you kind of moment, like you can't get me, you know? And there's just this moment where I'm sort of like, again, wearing this mask, and I'm just like, sort of like glaring at her with my sort of shoulders like this. And I'm sort of like, almost like sort of like laughing a little bit, the shoulders moving, like I know something she doesn't know. And then I just kind of raise the arm up like this and sort of like unfurl the finger and point like that. And then she's like, huh? And she spins around and she sees another one of my guys locked in the room behind her. So she's not safe. I drove home from set that night at 4 a.m. And to answer your question, I just had this light bulb moment where I was like, that was fun doing like something a little different, non-human, something a little weird. And then I was like, oh, hold on. I've spent decades of my life animating video game characters. You know, you take them from this T pose to positioning them and then to moving them around.
Right.
Why not animate myself?
Right.
So that was like a moment. And then I was like, and it was 4 a.m. I remember I couldn't sleep well that night because I had this idea, and I was like, I got to seek out classes. There's got to be classes on like creatures and monsters and things. There's got to be something. So I started doing mime. I started doing creature performance, Mind's Eye Tribe, and mime theater in Hollywood with Lauren Erickson, who's the last of Marcel Marceau's students.
Oh wow, that's awesome.
Yeah.
And then sort of looking back at like animation I did, I just thought about like, how do I apply that to myself? How do I sort of learn my own physicality and positioning?
Right.
And even, you know, the latest role that I did for Disney, that wasn't a creature per se. I put some of that into it just to make it, you know, a little bit off, a little bit creepy, a little bit like, who is this? It's a little supernatural for that moment, you know? So I love that stuff. It's super fun. It's very nichey for me. I think as an actor, it's good to be good in a lot of things and be broad, right? But I think it's also good to have something a little niche, a little different that you can kind of tag onto the side and be that person that they can hire for that, you know?
Absolutely. No, I get that. And I mean,
like they say, acting, like when you're an actor, you use all of your body. It's not just like your voice, it's not just your face. You actually use your whole body is your instrument. And so it's amazing to hear you say that, and how just learning how to move and having that mask on really helped you unlock that movement. It's just amazing. I love that. Did they do any like commedia dell'arte or anything when you were doing like movement classes? Because I know they do like a lot with the mask, so that happy and sad and how you move interprets that.
I haven't done that in
I was
class
curious
yet.
about that.
No, I haven't done that in class yet, but we have done a lot of like, you know, interesting stuff with sort of like, I remember the first class I did with Mind's Eye Tribe. I want to go back and do some more actually, because they're so fun. We were doing it in the park during the pandemic, and TJ Storm, who runs the class, he had sort of like, you know, briefly met us and sort of asked a couple of questions. And he says, all right, the first exercise I'm going to have you guys do is walk away from us 20 feet. So turn your back on us, walk away 20 feet, and then turn around and come back as a character that you just thought of or something you want to try. And me turning up like this, I got my glasses on, you know, like, you know, well-spoken British chap, like, hello, nice to meet you, you know, this kind of thing. When I walked away, I think, because he had me go first, I don't think he was expecting what I turned around with. And I turned around with the most like crazy, slathering, crooked, twitching zombie that you've ever seen. I literally had draw hanging off my mouth. My eyes were like going crazy.
That's awesome.
And TJ is awesome. He's like this sort of like larger than life character. And he just like stared at me and he goes, I was not expecting that. And he says, cool. All right, who's next? Who wants to follow that?
That's amazing that you got that reaction from him. So you knew you were doing something right. You got a visceral reaction and something that wasn't expected. So
yeah,
yay,
it was
you.
fun.
Good job. I love
Thank you.
that. So
I think being shy as a kid and then eventually getting out of that, I think I'm sort of like, in a weird way, like making up for lost time. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to be brave in anything I do. I might be nervous on the inside, but I'm not going to show it. I'm just going to like put that energy into it, you know, and just try stuff and just try to like not say no to things, you know.
And I mean, you definitely did that because from your early stage work, I mean, you won multiple awards. You got Best Actor from the Pacific Coast Theater, a couple of different awards that are out there. Like, how does it feel when you get such high recognition? Like, does it feel surreal in a way? Or, you know, getting those awards, did it help your confidence as an actor, like to kind of pursue more things?
Yeah, the two awards I had were sort of on the earlier side of when I started, because I was doing a lot of indie and stuff. And obviously those go to film festivals a lot. Yeah, we did this short film. It was a student film for SDSU, San Diego State. And it was a short film where I played the lead titular character. And it was really fun. It was also surreal. It was also required strong imagination. Like there was a scene at the end where I'm like trapped behind glass, and we had a glass sheet there, and the sheet was, if I remember correctly, the sheet was reflecting the camera and everything. Was causing a lot of problems. And I said, I can just do it without the sheet. I'll just be sort of like pressed up against it and sort of like pushing and stuff and doing this whole thing. And it was a moment where I'm trapped inside of a TV screen. It pulls back. And that film was going off to Canada International Film Festival. And all I knew was it was being submitted for like best short or something, right? I think it was like a 15-minute film. And I didn't go because at the time I didn't really have a whole lot of money coming in. So I just sort of, said, oh, good luck, to the director. And then I called him and I said, did he win? I was very new at the time. I was only like a year into acting. And he said, no, unfortunately not, but you won the whole festival. And I'm like, what does that mean? And then and I says, I don't know what you mean. I says, it's not April 1st. You can't be pulling my leg, And then he says, no, you won best actor out of the whole festival, like 400 actors. And he said, you're going to get an email soon asking where to ship the crystal thing and the statue and the plaque. I'm not saying all this to like brag about that. It was just that it was like a new thing for me because it was like a surprise I didn't know was coming. And then there have been times, as I'm sure with every actor, where, you're going on this journey where there are times where you're questioning yourself. You're like, what am I doing? Mm-hmm. Maybe I should stick to games or go back to Safeways. Maybe I should have joined my dad's printing company. Yeah, you sort of like wonder sometimes for whatever reason. But then I look over at that statue, and as corny as it sounds, it does help me sometimes because I'm like, well, there's sort of like a visual reminder that I did something right at one point. I can do something again. I just need to like get my head back in the game,
Yeah.
Right.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and I mean,
very inspirational. I love
it.
That.
It is, and I mean, you've mentioned it a couple of times here. You've spent a lot of time in indie films, spanning from drama, comedy, horror. You've done a good amount of horror, as well as doing some larger TV productions, like some of the big notable ones, Lodge 49 on AMC, and obviously we mentioned a second ago, Agatha All Along, which is a pretty big role too. What's been the biggest difference aside from budget working on stage, indie, and big budget projects? Like, what do you feel is the difference between the different styles of acting, between those different kind of levels of production?
It's a good question. There's a lot to that because I've only had a couple of network credits so far. Mm-hmm. But my experience with those is a small sample pool. But my experience with those is that for those shows, at least, they really take their time, mm-hmm. Focus on quality, focus on getting it right. And I'm not saying that all of the other stuff hasn't been like that. There's definitely been a lot of projects I've worked on where they've, given pretty good amount of time to get things right. But a lot of indie stuff is, super budget conscious, as are the big stuff too, but it's a different degree. It's like a lot of films I've done have sometimes been shot, the entire film has been shot in like 8 to 10 days. Whereas, Agatha All Along, it was like, it's one scene, we shot it over 2 days, so it's, I think taking a bit of time with it, it's not to say like, hey, I need hours to do this scene. It's just like, them preparing it, really trying things out. And then when we're not like a super multi-take per shot thing, it's just like, getting it right, setting it up, blocking it out, getting the mark, the blocking out for the markings on the floor and making sure we hit the marks and everything, and just trying stuff out. And like a good point in case is, we're trying not to give anything too much away for people who haven't seen Agatha yet, but the scene that I'm in, the whole shot.
If they haven't seen Agatha, then you can spoil it because everybody on our channel should have already watched it because it's like one of my favorites.
We're going to get into some speculation later on. So, I mean, I want to ask you about it. So
I'll say enough to make the point make sense, but I won't say every aspect. But the whole shot where Jennifer Kale, played by Sashia Zameda, is in the kitchen. Everything's cool, hunky-dory. She's in there. She's figuring out what to do. The camera tracks her. She goes into the pantry for a few seconds, grabs what she needs, and comes back. Well, a lot of people don't realize that was all done in camera for real. All the lighting changes, me suddenly being in there, everything shifting and changing. And that was very sort of Hitchcock, in how that was shot. And literally was shoulder to shoulder with the DP. You know, he said, stand right next to me. You are just behind the matte box. As soon as the camera tracks just past that corner of the wall, run. You got 4 seconds. So literally, you know, the director, Rachel Goldberg, who is amazing, by the way, absolutely amazing, adore her. She yelled, "Go, Scott, go!" I ran in. You don't really see there's a leather bag. Excuse me. You don't really see there's a leather bag, but I plonk it down. I get myself in position. I got my lines, got my blocking. I remember the direction from the last take. Boom, we do the whole thing. And that was all done in camera. And I just love that show focused on practical sets, practical effects, you know, doing things in camera. Me being a 3D artist in games, you would think I'd always like, you know, go towards CGI, but no, I'm kind of old school. I like old school filmmaking. I like the practical models of the old Star Wars films. I like the practical stuff. I just think it's awesome because it has a physicality to it that is just, you know, you can't beat. But yeah, that also, I love also on the flip side, I love the indie, gritty, getting your hands dirty. Let's make something cool with, you know, a shoestring budget and like, oh, we're shooting in this room. We're shooting this way, but if we flip the camera over here or move a couple of things over, it can add some sort of interesting like dynamic to the set or add some production quality. And whenever I work on indie films, I obviously don't do this on network, but when I work on indie films, even though like I'm an actor in the thing, I'm always like, how can I help? How can I help? You need me to move that light stand? You need me to grab this thing? I'm always like happy to do that, you know, because I think for me, it sort of adds to the passion and excitement of you know, working in a production like that rather than just sitting around waiting to be used, you know?
Right.
Yeah, yeah. Do you feel like the indie is more like a collaborative, like everybody's the family of the movie, whereas
Yeah.
like something like Agatha All Along, there's so many moving pieces, and you know, you've got all these characters, and so you kind of just want to not be in the way. Do you feel like that, or is it more like it's all family and it's just how you're used?
On like Agatha Network, yeah. I mean, yeah, when you get there, they make you feel like family as much as they can. I mean, you know, I spent like 3 hours, I felt like 3 hours, a good 3 hours, like a happy 3 hours, collaborating with Daniel Sellon, the costume designer, just because he's so meticulous and so passionate about getting the character looking right. And then
Yeah.
you're all dressed up and you got the makeup on, which you don't see too much because of the blue lighting, but I've got like pale face makeup with sort of like slightly dark rings around my eyes and sort of accentuating like the lines and stuff a little bit to sort of look a little bit otherworldly, a little bit more haunting, you know?
Right. It gave you a very Victorian look, and it's
Yeah.
It did, yeah.
landed exactly what they were going for with that character.
Yeah. I remember the role was
That
like,
whole thing, I might have consumption, I might not.
yeah. Yeah. By the way, I've had so many questions, so much speculation about that character. It's insane.
Oh, that's
Oh,
I was
Phil's
going to
got
ask you some of that stuff, so don't worry about that. Mainly
Yeah.
because I want to know your opinion on it, right? I mean, being someone who played the character, but again, I've got a whole section for that, so we're going to go to that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can chat about that with what I can say. But yeah, just, you know, amazing. Like Jack Schaefer with Daniel knocked on my door after I got all ready and everything. And you know, it's already like a bit of a dynamic thing when they're on ground level outside the trailer and you're 4 feet up with the raised steps in the trailer opening the door, and then Jack Schaefer sees you for the first time. You know, she's the creator of the show, and she just kind of did that slow look up at me, and she goes, "Oh, that's gonna work." But she said, but then she said, "Lose the glasses. He has very dark eyes. I want to see that." She said, "You look great. Nice
That's
to meet you.
awesome.
I'll see you soon."
I love that. That's so cool
Yeah.
to get that like level
Kind
of
of gives you that
validation.
boost.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, it's very much that validation after casting where it's like, oh yeah, no, we knew he fit the character, but even more so now.
Yeah. Sort of seeing it physically and now in costume.
Right.
Because when I did the audition, you know, I kind of had my sort of hair slicked forward a little bit at the sides to sort of do that Victorian thing. I had the hair kind of swept back and to the side and kind of, you know, sort of glued down almost. It was quite strong hair gel I used. And then I'd also put actually funny enough, I'd put a little bit of pale, like, you know, foundation on just to kind of make it a little more haunting. And I had a black shirt with a band collar on it, a little bit priest-like, you know?
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's what I did it. And I remember when I did the audition, which was way back in November 2022. That's how far back it was.
Wow.
Because we shot early 2023. I did 2 takes of it. And of course, you know, it's Marvel, so they're not going to tell you more beyond what you need to do to perform the scene, right?
Right.
Because they want to be careful about leaks, which I absolutely understand. I mean, working in games, I had to deal with that for many years. You know, I understand it.
Right. The NDA life.
Yeah, NDA life, and just kind of working within like, all right, this is how much I know. You know, at the end of the scene on the sides, it doesn't tell you what happens to Jen, whose name was changed. Excuse me. So I just assumed she was dead. So I just did my whole crazy thing and left her there and just like looked at the body and tweaked my collar and walked off, you know. And then kind of left the body slumped there. And then, of course, when it came to shooting and asking a couple of questions and seeing how we're setting it up, I was like, oh, interesting. This is cool. A bit more supernatural than I was thinking. But the next day I got worried because I'd already sent the tape off. And I was like, ooh, was that a bit much for Disney Marvel? Had I gone a bit too dark with that? Because my imagination escapes me, and I'm a huge horror fan. Like every time I turn the TV on, the first thing I'm looking for is new horror movies. And
we got to hook you up with Graveyard, man. Graveyard would love to have you on the show.
We have a subject matter expert in horror, and his name is Graveyard. And we'll hook you up with him.
There's a good chance he's probably seen all of your indie films because he is
probably
nothing but horror. So,
all right,
he's like writing. He's writing a horror film right now. I think it's like it's a 48-hour movie that they're gonna do, and he's writing it right now. Yeah, I have no idea. We never know until he makes it. He's just like, guys, I'm not gonna be on Friday because I'm filming a movie, and we're just like, all right, go on, you know.
Nice. Have fun.
I mean, our 20-minute short took 24 hours to shoot. So I mean, like, you know.
Oh yeah.
Nice. Yeah. But we were going to ask you what your favorite genre to work in was, but you said you were a huge horror fan, so I'm going to guess horror is probably your favorite one to work in.
Horror's fun, but it's messy a lot of times. You know, the amount of times where I've been literally like, you know, head to toe covered in blood and stuff. It's like taken like 6 hours to clean up, you know. And he's still like
I've always thought that was so cool. Like, is it just really sticky and icky when you're covered? Okay. All right. You know what? You've cured me of wanting to be covered in blood. Thank you. I appreciate that.
You trying to recreate the Carrie scene, or?
Yeah, it's kind of what it felt like. I mean, it did. Yeah. I was a zombie for a film called Zombie Night. And it was funny because like it was sort of background. It was back when I started trying to figure out like, what do you do, get on the sets, see how sets work, all that kind of stuff. But it was more than that because it was a zombie. It wasn't just like somebody in the background, right? And I've been practicing for days my zombie walk, again, with my whole game animation thing. And I thought I had a pretty neat walk. And unfortunately, they never used me for that. So, but the funny thing is that it was the first and only thing so far that I've done where I wore contacts. And I'm covered in dust, dirt, mud, blood, everything. I mean, like literally everything that could be stuck on me is stuck on me. And it was with Daryl Hannah and Anthony Michael Hall, I think it was.
Oh, Anthony Michael Hall. Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah. Oh, hold on. Is it Anthony Michael Hall, Michael C. Hall, who's Dexter?
Michael C. Hall.
Okay, so Anthony Michael, the other guy. Sorry, I always get those two whole
Anthony
names.
Michael Hall was the guy from the 80s. The who was a star in the 80s.
That guy.
Yeah.
So we're doing the setup. I'm like on the floor. She's kind of like standing there with a samurai sword. Zombie woman is trying to break through the door, and there's a scene where she's like doing the sword down. Then they switch. They cut to a puppet, and they chop the head off. And when we're setting it all up, you know, Daryl's so sweet. She's like, I'm a bit worried about swinging my sword and hitting, what was your name again? Scott? Yeah, hitting Scott. You know, and she says, can't we put a potato sack there instead? Just, you know. And then it was kind of funny, but it was really fun. And I just remember like having a blast on it. I was like, wow, this whole film thing is really fun. And maybe I should do more of this. And then But yeah, it took hours to clean up. I think for a week or two later afterwards, I still found clumps of like dried blood and dust and things in my hair.
Okay, I'm officially 100% cured of ever wanting to have blood be like drenched in blood for a movie or anything. I
Oh,
am
you got to do it at least
100%
once.
cured of that. Oh, at
Yeah.
least once, yeah.
The other crazy thing I've done is have a head cast where you spend hours completely encased in all that latex stuff,
Right.
the goop, and all you have is a couple of straws to breathe through your nostrils, and your eyes are closed, your mouth is closed. I know it sounds strange, but I guess it might be the closest feeling to ever being back in the womb. It's like that sort of weird encased kind of like, in a bubble kind of feel.
Yeah, the way
very
the
strange.
way the plaster feels on your skin.
Yeah.
Slimy and disgusting. Yeah.
Some people freak out with that. Some people can't do it.
Yeah. I feel like I would. At some point I feel like I would like talk myself into I'm gonna die like this, and then I would freak out. But let's not talk about me anymore because I'm starting to freak out a little bit.
Not the worst
So
way to
let's
die,
go.
though. I mean, there are worse.
Yeah, there's true. There's true.
Oh
That's
God.
true.
So let's
Wait,
move
so
on.
I heard that you actually also did some voiceover work, right?
Yeah.
So like for like
Some bit.
Avatar, Pandora Rising,
Oh, actually, I was a game
Star
developer on
Trek.
that.
Mhm.
Yeah, I was a game
Oh, okay.
developer on Avatar, but I also did stub-in voices because at the time I was acting still. So
Which
yeah,
is common in a lot of games where you get like people who are developing the game, like, hey, we need an extra voice here, and they'll just hop in and do it.
yeah, it even happened before I got into acting. It was happening in the 90s because I was lead artist on a game called Kingsley's Adventure on the PS1 after Croc. And I was quite buddy with the audio engineer, Alistair. He's a really cool guy. And excuse me, he knew I was like always like being a little crazy and making up stupid things and stuff and joking around. And he said to me, do you want to like do stub-in voices for this game? And bearing in mind, this is PS1, there's not a lot of memory to do like recorded audio. So the game, excuse me, a bit like Zelda, you'd have like the NPCs that you're talking to. And what they do is they put like a text box on the bottom of what they're saying, like a typewriter kind of thing. And the characters just sort of open their mouths. And so in order to like have a voice for the character, but without having lots of recorded speech, the voices, because they're animals too, the voice would be like, this kind of stuff. And I remember spending like 2 hours in that booth just making up like 12 to 15 different animals, like, all these kind of crazy voices. Yeah, and I didn't feel stupid at all. If anything, I felt like I'd found my new home.
It's like, I can make a living just going.
Yeah, something really satisfying
like
about that.
The Sims
Again,
don't
maybe
speak English; they speak similes. Yeah.
Yeah, again, maybe it's going back to being a baby again, talking about being in the womb. Maybe it's back to being that, just making stupid noises and getting away with it.
That is a much easier character grunt to do than playing like a lead in the video game where like, okay, cool, we're gonna do 2 hours of you just going, huh,
Oh my gosh. So you did okay. So I've never played Croc Legend of the Gobos. I know Phil is obsessed with it.
I love that game.
You're the lead artist on that, right? And then and that was before the acting. So did that like how do I want to say this? So like did that give you enough creative outlet, or did you feel like you still needed to get into acting after like did that like springboard you back, or were you just like, man, or was that just like the admin part of it?
I think weirdly,
I'm saying too much. I'm just gonna
no, it's a good question. I think weirdly, the idea of acting, like actually, trying it, had completely escaped my mind between 13 when I tried that drama class, and there was a couple of things in the newspaper that I didn't get to go to when I got laid off from PlayStation in 2008, which is where I started acting, because I started in March 2009. That was the first time I Googled what is SAG-AFTRA, local acting class, just to try it for the hell of it. And I told myself, if you're rubbish at this, at least it will help you with public speaking for presentations and games. Because even though I would know my subjects well for my presentations, I would still get nervous going up in front of 20, 30 people and doing a presentation. So I saw it as a win-win. But to answer your question, I think all of that stuff inadvertently set me up for doing that stuff later. If I'd have been doing something else that wasn't that creative or that, you know, character driven or whatever, like I was doing anything pretty much else, I might have struggled with it. If I decided to try it at that point, I might have been like, okay, I'm a different version of myself. This is what I have now, you know? My imagination is crazy, by the way. I mean, it is as bad, if not worse, than when I was a kid.
Yeah. I was saying, I love the optimism in this. It's like, you know, we'll find the silver lining. Like, hey, if this doesn't work out, then at least there's another skill that I can get out of this. I love that, you know, you were able to say, you know what, if I decide, if it ends up being that I'm not good at acting, then I can at least pull another skill from this, which is the total opposite. I mean, dude, like we're gonna get into the Doctor and kind of like, you know, just how two lines conveyed so much, and that is a testament to acting. But matter of fact, let's jump into this, right? So let's get into Agatha all along. Okay. How did you land that role? Was it just a normal audition? You know, just went for an audition for that?
Yeah, my wonderful Atlanta agent, Barbara, she sends me an audition, as you typically would get. You get an audition notice. She probably let me know via email, text as well. I looked at it immediately, and it said, you know, untitled Marvel SVOD, straight to video on demand. And I knew that was a TV series, right? And the minute you got Marvel on there, you definitely, I mean, you're paying attention anyway, but you're paying attention especially. And you're like, okay, all right, let's take a look at this. You're all excited. It's not something you submitted for, so it's all exciting and new and fresh. And I look at it and I'm like, oh yeah, this one, you know, you just know, you know whether this is something you can do or something that's going to be a bit of a stretch. And I immediately knew that this was something I can do. Now, it didn't say British accent at all. But because of the era of the character and the fact that I've lived in the States 23 years, now I get told I still sound very British, but I have been out here 23 years. So what I did was I allowed my accent to be casual and natural, how it is now. But if it slips a little bit in between, it's okay, because it didn't say it was set in England, but I got a feeling it wasn't. So I decided to use my accent because I thought, if nothing else, I think it'll add something maybe they haven't seen on the other auditions. Like they'll, because it's being shot in Atlanta, you're going to have a lot of American actors doing their accent for that role. Right. Didn't know anything about where the character's actually set until the show came out, funny enough.
Yeah.
Watched it with everyone else, you know, the 2 other episodes where they mentioned the character. I was like, oh, interesting. I didn't know that. So, and that's fine. That's fine. I had enough to work with to do the thing. They gave me plenty of information to work with it. That stuff was just extra information. I was like, oh, interesting. If they ever bring this character back, I'm glad to know that now, you know?
Yeah. Your character is very, I would say the delivery was very transatlantic. So, you know, it was your accent, but it still had that kind of hybrid, like American British kind of, you know, actor's accent to it.
Yeah. I also think it added to the mystery of it too.
It did.
If you have something, if you have a character that is visually a bit off and vocally a bit off, I think it kind of works, because it's like, who is this person and where is he from and why is he here? There's a lot more questions that pop up. And I didn't know when I did the audition that I didn't know the stuff they told me when I was on set, right? You know, preparing for the shoot. But I knew from studying what I had and reading between the lines that there is definitely a history between these 2 characters.
Yes.
She is an inconvenient woman. Why? Something has happened over time, maybe a long time, between them. And when you play villains, you know, it's very easy to fall into the trap of being aggressive and big and crazy and I'm evil, kind of thing.
Yeah.
But that's the absolute worst thing you can do. The best thing you can do is actually make it real, make it a real like problem and a connection,
right?
And believe in your cause. It's just that maybe your cause doesn't align with societal norm, you know. And so what I did with the line, because like you said, there's only 2 lines, was to stretch out that first line. That I'm almost exasperated with how inconvenient she has been and how much of a problem she has caused me, and not make this a quick said statement, drag this out of like, this is how you have made me feel, you know, kind of thing. And I kept the voice down and didn't want to raise it. And I wanted to almost like this moment, I didn't know this, where there's the whole switch in the scene, but I wanted almost like her and I to be trapped in this bubble that she can't get out of. And she's like pressed up against this bubble of this sudden, you know, person now, you know, turning around and you know, saying these quite strange lines to her.
But it also made him so much more menacing, you know, and that's kind of like that choice was a perfect choice. And then you really led into the next thing I wanted to ask you. So like, for a character with the amount of screen time that you had, with the impact that the Doctor has, because you've seen the show, you know what kind of impact he has. Your line delivery conveyed a lot of emotion and disdain for Jennifer Kale's character. Like those 2 lines, you feel the amount of just seething hatred he has for Jennifer. And like what made me want, like, what I thought of in this instant was there a lot of background given to you on the character, or did you have to just craft that all from whole cloth?
I was given enough background, thankfully, by Daniel, because I spent like I said, like 3 hours with him, I think it was, something like that. They have a huge like costume department inside of Trillith Studios in Atlanta, where they have just unimaginable amounts of like, you know, costumes and fabrics and glasses and jewelry and props and everything. It's absolutely amazing. But Daniel gave me enough information, because I said to him, firstly, I said, because I haven't been given the set sides yet, and, you know, the little sides that you keep in your back pocket. And I said, are the lines the same? And I told him what the lines were, and he says, yeah, I believe they are. I've looked at the scene. I believe there's the same lines, because oftentimes they'll disguise the lines, change the lines, make it a different scene, in fact, because they're worried about leaks. Again, the same thing, right? I totally understand. Yeah. And they said yes. So I was like, good to know, because I had an incident on many years ago where they didn't tell me, and then I suddenly had to memorize 15 paragraphs in about 5 minutes, which was terrifying.
Not good.
Yeah, then I also said, you know, is there like anything I need to know about this character? You know, typically you don't ask too many questions on set. You need to, as an actor, form your motives, what you're doing with it. It's all your crafting. But when there's no story background, that you haven't been able to read the rest of the episode script, it becomes obviously a little bit more of a challenge, right?
Right.
Especially when there's a history between characters. Now, if they had just met, then you don't really need to know too much, you know, but the fact that they had a history. So he told me enough. He told me about how, you know, there was 100-year history with them, 1920s, trap whole thing, right? You know, that she was root worker, midwifery, the whole thing. And just about, he didn't say what happened exactly, like, but he gave me the gist of the underlying conflict between them.
Right.
And I was like, that's enough. Thank you. Super appreciate it. I've got enough to work with. I've got a little bit of time before we shoot. And then, as it turned out, we spread the shoot over 2 days instead of 1 day. And the first day was just the under sink, because they swapped the sink out for a transparent glass version. So she's doing the whole, like, you know, kind of thing.
Right.
And then, you know, I had plenty of time to sort of percolate on that I've been told for the second day, which was the actual bulk of the scene with the lines and everything. But it was so much fun. I mean, getting to create something weird and mysterious out of, you know, quite limited information and set up, and then, you know, have really nice reactions. Excuse me, I'm losing my voice. Catherine Hahn burst onto set when we were blocking it out, and I hadn't really fully met her yet. You know, she was busy, and I don't want to get in the way, but I sort of smiled and kind of nodded. But she burst onto set with these big glasses on, and just after seeing it on the screens, I guess, with the rehearsal, she yells at me across the set and to the crew and everybody, just like, remarkable, remarkable, remarkable. She's clapping her hands. And if I had any nerves at that point, which I think I'd pretty much pushed out, was just using in a good way, it was all like, okay, we're doing something here that seems to be liked. And obviously I did the same thing I did in the audition, allow for direction at that point, you know?
Right.
And then a funny tidbit was I came out of the set, you know, because they were like, okay, everything's looking good. You can take 5, you know, to step out the set. They built that house inside of stage 15, you know, so it was a big set.
Yeah.
You walk up a ramp inside there and it's like, wow, this is amazing. And then I walked down the ramp out of the set wearing the whole get up, and all the big Marvel producers and everybody were like at the Video Village off to my left, you know, and they were clapping like really creepy. It's looking great, you know. And I was still a bit in character. I looked over at them over my left shoulder and I says, "Why, thank you." kind of glared at them, and they were like, "Whoa!"
It's one of those. Oh, he's really like that.
Yeah, it's like, oh wow, that's why he does it so well. He's actually an evil doctor.
Yeah.
Then I smiled to make it not too creepy.
So I mean, with that, right? And we've kind of touched on it a little bit, but there are a lot of theories on the relationship between the Nature and the Doctor's binding of Jennifer Kale. So you kind of answered it a little bit. You actually kind of gave us one of the things, like, you know, I was going to ask if there is an official canon to the binding itself, not to give us the canon, but like, is there a canon to it? If not, do you have a theory on how he was able to bind her?
Yeah, so all I will say and can say is what is in the show. I actually don't know anything else anyway, but I wouldn't be able to say it in case for some reason we need to, you know, continue that character. And I'm always very, very careful about NDAs. But
no, that's what I was going to say, is anything that's under NDA, please do not get in trouble, man. So
yeah. But what I can say is that I've had a couple of people reach out about the character, having seen the whole show, and they either missed or misunderstood what was said in the morgue scene where Jen gets her power back. Right? She deals with that situation with Agatha, right? And you know, there's that realization from Jen that, oh, Agatha was involved. Agatha had a part in this, you know, Agatha all along, right? What a couple of people missed, that at least that I know of, excuse me, is that as Agatha said, the patriarchy paid good money to shush a lady. It was bind or burn, baby, which means it was a good thing you got bound, because it could have been a lot worse. You could have been burnt at the stake for being a witch, right?
Right.
So what she was saying was that the Doctor, the patriarchy, was wanting to bind this person, but they didn't have the means to do it because they're not magic users. Thus, they needed Agatha's spells, which she was always, you know, doing stuff for a bit of cash here and there, given the character she is, in order to make that a reality.
Right.
So there is that. In an earlier episode, when they're having the campfire talk, after the Doctor's scene, they're mentioning, Jen mentions about how she'd been invited to these greater obstetrics, event in Boston, and that it was a trap. I don't know how he did it. You know, I don't know how he bound me, kind of thing. Which leads into that later scene with Agatha. So that is the full circle of it in the show. Yeah.
And you don't have to agree with this or like, you know, acknowledge what I'm about to say right now. The prevailing theory online is that Agatha didn't know that Jennifer was being binded. All she was paid for was that I was binding someone, and she had cast the spell, and Jennifer had walked into that spell.
Yeah, that is a speculation I've seen too.
Right.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember exactly if there was any inclination that Agatha knew Jen, like as a person 100 years ago. or just
It
knew
seems
of
like
her?
she did because I went back and rewatched your episode specifically this morning so I could have better context. And she, at the end of the episode, she talks about I've always hated you,
Right.
right? And says
How long?
you were doing right, but what you were doing was important, right? And again, that's kind of
Right.
alluding to that she was a midwife, that she was doing real healing magic, and that again,
Yeah.
episode 7 kind of confirms that in referring to him as the patriarchy was that this doctor did not like the work that she was doing, and it
Yeah.
kind of alludes to more. We're not going to get into the politics of it, but I mean, like, it alludes to more time specific racist and misogynistic aspects to that character, and wanting to stop someone who was as successful as Jennifer Kale from doing the good work that she was doing. The other big thing that kind of ties into her character was the fact that they still referred to her as the high priestess.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And then the other thing, again, this is you. I do not need you to acknowledge it because again, you might get in trouble based on speculation, right? Is that Jennifer did not actually get binded. It was more that she had done it to herself with her own kind of guilt, right? That she felt that
Yeah.
like she felt not guilty, but like she felt so afraid that she had binded
That she
herself.
deserved it. She
Right.
Yeah.
deserved to be bound.
Because
Yeah,
that's
that
the
kind of thing.
speculation comes from in episode 7 when she's able to get out of the bind itself, was that she had the power all along, but it was her that
Yeah.
binding herself.
Which is a beautiful story.
It really is.
That
Yeah.
episode was so strong.
Yeah.
That theme was so strong.
Yeah. It actually goes really deep into mental health and about,
Mhm.
you know, being like loving yourself and being proud of yourself and not
Believing.
yourself and believing in yourself, right? And not holding yourself back. So again, that is the speculation on mine. Accepting, right?
Accepting what you are. Yeah.
Self-acceptance, right?
Yeah, the interesting angles on that is that, you know, is it a spell that initially actually bound her and then that maybe wore off and left her in that state? Or was it just something that made her just not believe in herself anymore and kind of, you know,
Right.
reduce her sort of inner feeling of power?
Right.
I would love to explore that if ever the characters came back. I know Sashir said in Collider back in, I think it was November, when the show finished, she said that she would love to explore more of the backstory, which might involve the Doctor, because that's really the backstory there.
Well,
I'd love to get a
Jennifer
special
Kale is
presentation.
What's that?
Yeah, Jennifer Kale is she's pretty important to the
She is.
mystical side of Marvel. So I mean, there is a good chance. So, and
Been
that would
around a
be an
while.
amazing something to explore. What I would like to know is, did you ever think about like what the meeting between the Doctor and Agatha would have been like? Because Agatha is, I mean, let's face it, she is like OG Chaos Queen.
Yeah, she
Like
is over the top.
you never know
Right.
who she's gonna be when she shows up. So
Yeah, I've obviously the show's been out a year now, and I will admit, I've spent quite a bit of time imagining and sort of filling ideas up, because I like to be creative. Should the character come back? Should they go back on that story? Because we would hope and expect that that character is going to appear somewhere in the MCU again. How would that play out? You know, would it be a flashback? Would it be a prequel? Would it be some sort of revelation or something? Or is the Doctor still around, even though he'd be 150 years old or whatever? You know, I remember like seeing one theory on it was something online saying that there was potentially an idea for like post-credit scenes, which I knew nothing about, by the way. And the one of them was about Jen seeking out the Doctor, and everyone was like, "That's ridiculous. He'd be 150 years old, be dead by now." So there's always like interesting speculations that go out in stories. But yes, I have sort of wondered about that. I'm like, what is more interesting? Obviously, you would be sort of, you know, told and guided on what the actual relationship would be based on the script and what's put forth as a story by the creators. But just out of pure fun for like playing with it, you know, is it more exciting to be a character that is similar to Agatha, a little bit chaotic in himself, which does the whole sort of two peas in a pod scenario, or to actually be the polar opposite of that, which I think is more interesting,
right?
Which is to be the contrasting thing. Yes, the Doctor comes across a little dark and chaotic himself in that scene, but it'd be quite interesting actually if the initial reveal of the Doctor, if he came back in a sort of like what actually happened 100 years ago, is not what you're expecting at first. And that maybe he seems actually quite dedicated to his work, and that he seems quite a normal person and quite a trusted person of society. But there is clearly something going on there that gets revealed, some sort of layers that get flipped, and the tables get flipped over, you know?
Yeah. He would have to do like the Kingo thing and be like, oh yeah, for some reason, you know, after this whole thing with Jennifer went down, he gets cursed and he doesn't age. So he has to do the Kingo thing and say, yeah, no, that was my grandfather.
Yeah. And by the way, for anyone who just tuned in now, this is all speculation. This is not speculation. This is not anything real. This is just us having fun with it.
Yeah.
This is all Marvel has not confirmed any of
this. This is not endorsed by Marvel, guys. And this and this is Scott has no speculation, or it is speculation. He has no idea of any of the story that's going on. Please do not say, "Oh, Scott Butler said this." No, we're talking.
Okay. Scott Butler confirms Doctor will be back for.
You know how it can get out there. No,
I know, and that's why I'm like, we're putting the disclaimer on there now. Like, no, this is not what's happening right now. We are.
Yeah, we need like a spoiler banner, but one that says speculation banner or something.
Yeah, speculation.
Anyways,
non-spoiler,
right? So we are getting toward the end of the show here. I do have one more question I want to ask you before we get into wrap up questions.
Yeah.
Just because it's more of a fan thing. We want to have you fan out right now, especially considering everything that's behind you right now. We know you're a big Star Wars fan. All right. So what would be a dream role to play in the Star Wars universe?
So, yeah, I'm a massive Star Wars. It is my number one thing I'm into. I have more helmets over there. You can't even see. I've got a Stormtrooper, Luke Skywalker, the OG Stormtrooper, Luke Skywalker. I've got a lightsaber over there. I've got all that stuff back in the UK, which someday I need to bring back. Yes, I would love to play somebody in the Empire.
Oh yeah.
Whether that be an Imperial officer, whether that be something akin to some of the Andor characters like that, right? I like the grittier side of Star Wars more personally. I'm a big Empire Strikes Back fan. I like the darker side of it. Or maybe even a bounty hunter would be kind of fun. Some sort of crazy badass bounty hunter that's new.
That's my two.
Nice, very nice. Let me get mine. Hold on.
I only have a baton. I have a baton. I twirled a baton when I was young.
Sort of lead Imperial character. So it's my.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's the you're too short to be a stormtrooper.
Yeah.
Helmet.
I'm 5'10", so I think I can be okay.
You'd be fine. Yeah.
What did you say? Aren't you a little short to be a stormtrooper? Oh wait, yeah.
Yeah, that's the. I'm here to rescue you. Wait, let me get my Messiah hair and just like brush it out a little.
Something like that would be amazing. It is number one on my bucket list is to even just have a couple of like crazy lines on a Star Wars movie or show. Yeah.
There's something about Imperial officers as evil and fascistic as they are, that just seems like they would be fun characters to play.
Oh yeah.
It's the condescension. Yeah,
it
is that like, oh, you're below me,
right? Like there's the aristocratic nature to them, where it's just the aristocracy that comes along with being an Imperial officer. But also, funny enough,
that's fascism, baby.
That's fascism, right? Funny enough, Lucas from the beginning said that Imperial officers always have to be British because of the way that the accent sounds over authoritarianism. Just there's something about the British accent that makes authoritarians sound more menacing.
Yeah, it's funny because
Go ahead, Scott.
I was going to say it's funny
Go ahead.
because like there's been a couple of times where I've sort of how should I put it? Maybe slightly scolded somebody I know. And it's funny because they always know me as this friendly, nerdy, glasses-wearing British guy. But then when I get a bit serious, it makes them freeze in place. I remember like a coworker of mine in games, you know, he was messing around, sort of throwing stuff around the office. It kind of, one of them bounced off my eyeball. It was like a little foam dart thing. And I just took my glasses off and I says, "Stop throwing those darts now. You will stop that right now, henceforth."
Call back, yes.
And I was just having fun. I wasn't really mad. I just like messing around with him, and he went bright red, and he was almost like frozen in carbonite. He was just like staring at me like, "Are we still okay?"
Oh yeah, we're good, bro. No, you're good. I was messing with you.
That's awesome. That is so awesome. I mean, there is nothing like, I'm telling you, the mom voice and a British man scolding you, like they're on the same level.
Yeah.
You know, I'll mom look at the guys, or I'll like give them the mom voice, and they're like, "All right, okay, we're done. Well, yeah, we're fine." But I'm telling you, if I had a British with it,
yeah. So hopefully in the future,
I'd be running the world.
Hopefully in the future, I'll be scolding some rebel scum. Rebel scum.
Rebel scum. All right, awesome, man. So let's jump into these wrap-up questions here, man. I'm gonna ask you the hardest question you've ever been asked in your life. Are you ready for this?
Oh, all right.
All right. What is your favorite kind of taco?
Ooh, I really like chicken tacos with cheese, lots of veggies, some really nice sauce, and like a chipotle sauce, something spicy. Diablo tacos near me. Oh, I shouldn't say that, but they're really good. They make amazing tacos. Yeah.
That's just
awesome.
That's good. That's usually our follow up within that is like, you know, do you have a taco spot you like to go to? So there you go.
Diablo tacos.
Yeah,
shout out. There you go.
Yeah, shout out to them. What's some advice you might have for anybody trying to get into the industry, whether it be gaming or acting or anything? Like, what's some quick advice you might have for somebody?
Yeah, I mean, they have different things, but something that probably lines a bit for both is find what is fun for you. Find what is fun for you, because acting especially is a real grind. I mean, you know, even with the Marvel role, I'm still like looking for the next things and stuff like that. You're still working hard. And that is quite true of games right now. There's been a lot of layoffs and things happening in the industry, especially since the pandemic kind of stopped being a pandemic, which is a good thing, obviously, but you know, it's changed the industry a bit. So, you know, find something you're really into, keep pushing at it. The great thing these days is that, you know, unlike me when I started, which was pre-internet, show my age now, you can do courses and get information for free. I mean, there's so much stuff on YouTube about how to learn acting and games, you know, both. So, you know, the flip side of that, of course, there's so much information out there that everybody has access to it, but, you know, you got to pick your battles. But also what I say for both of them is enjoy the day-to-day journey and growth of it. Stop getting caught up in why has it not happened yet, where I need to be in a year. Stop comparing yourself to other people. Do not do that. That is a killer.
Right. Your career is your journey, and everybody's journey is different.
Everyone's journey is different. And even when you start out doing either of those journeys, you know, you just don't know what it's actually going to look like in 5 years. It could be vastly different to what you expect. Right. If you'd have told me I'd be a villain and a monster in a bunch of movies, you know, 10 years ago, I'd be like, I don't really see that. More like Friendly Professor, you know, whatever.
Yeah. And I mean, to keep in mind for everybody out there, if you, I hear this a lot every time we go out to shows and we do events and everything. There's always at least one person that says, "Oh, I'll never be an actor. I'm too old." Han Solo was Harrison Ford was 45 when he played Han Solo. So you are never too old to get into acting, because if Harrison Ford could make his break at 45, you know, Ryan Reynolds again was when he broke in as Deadpool, he was 38. You know,
I was almost 37 when I started, and I had a few people tell me, "Dude, you're starting way too late. Nothing's going to happen. You're wasting your time. You've got people with 20 years experience ahead of you." And I'm stubborn. When people tell me a no, I hear a yes. I'm like, I'll show you. And
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, since the Marvel role came out, a few people have been a bit quiet since.
Yeah.
Well, and also you're a new face. So like where everybody's seen everybody else, you're a newer face. So you bring something new to it. And that's always a good thing. And then when you back it up with talent like you have, you're gonna work. So, but it's like getting out there and getting the job because that's the
Yeah.
hardest part about it. It's landing the job and
Yeah.
not like when you're acting, that's like the cream, that trying to get the job is the cake that you're trying to eat.
Right.
So
Absolutely, 100%. The really fun thing I like interesting surprises day to day. Like every day is a new day, right?
Mhm.
If you leave the door
Absolutely.
open for opportunities, like you're still trying to remain positive, you're still working at a craft, you're still trying to do everything that needs to be done, and then you either self-submitted audition or through your agent or whatever, suddenly get an email pops up. I didn't know the day before I was going to do a Marvel audition. There's going to be a Marvel audition and thus a role later on. You just never know. That's what's exciting about it.
Yeah.
The minute you shut it down and close that door, you got to be in it to win it. You can't be like shutting the door on things. Otherwise, the worst thing is regret, I think. Like, I don't want to go to my deathbed thinking I didn't try. I didn't like leave the door open and do the things I need to do to try this. I don't mind so much if it doesn't fully work out or become what I wanted it to or hoped it would be. I just want it to take its course and be whatever it is supposed to be organically.
You 100% miss the chances that you don't take.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
under nothing under NDA, obviously, right? But what's next for you?
In talks with a few filmmaker friends, some new and some old friends of mine, with a bunch of films, chatting with a guy yesterday, a new friend of mine, about another crazy villain character, which I love. Villains are awesome.
Villains are fun to play.
Huh?
Villains are fun to play.
They are. And as a kid, maybe it was my sort of like warped mind because I've always been a bit crazy. I often wanted the villains to win.
Yeah. You look back, like I'm a big Masters of the Universe fan, right? I love He-Man, but a lot of times I'm rooting for Skeletor to win because it's kind of
badass.
He is, especially especially with the update with Revolution and the new stories that Kevin Smith did. He's so badass in that. Like, I was hoping that he was going to be Super Skeletor, and he ends up being Super Skeletor by the end of the second season. And I'm like, oh my god, he's so dope, man. He's so cool.
When I sat at my table for LA Comic Con, somebody walked by in the perfect Skeletor cosplay.
I saw him. And when he walked by, I immediately said, "Get out of my way, you boob!" He just started.
I love that. No, the moment he walked by, my eyes just popped out. I was like, "Dude, that's awesome!"
He looked really good.
Wow.
I saw that Skeletor. He looked really good.
It was cool.
Remember, until we meet again.
They got a He-Man movie coming out, and I think Sashir is in it.
I believe she's in it. Jared Leto is playing Skeletor in that, so I'm interested in seeing how that's going to turn out.
Interesting.
Yeah. And they just came out with a picture of, I'm forgetting his name, but the actor who's playing Prince Adam. He's playing He-Man, Prince Adam. When I first heard he was playing Prince Adam, I was like, he's too small. He's not gonna. I mean, you can get bigger, but he's pretty small. They just released the pictures of him, and he is massive.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, he is ripped. I'm like, oh my god, that is He-Man. He looks just like He-Man.
He's made it happen.
That's awesome. So I'm very excited. I'm hoping we get the version of He-Man from the comic books where he has the upper body, the torso armor.
Yeah.
Because the version in the comics, when they gave him the armor, rather than just him being in a loincloth and the little X, it's like, yeah, that's the classic.
There is nothing wrong with the loincloth and the little X.
I'm saying that the classic version of He-Man was cool, but he looks so much cooler when they gave him the armor in the comics.
Yeah.
But that's also when he's fighting Super Skeletor. and Super Skeletor that's where he loses his lower jaw, but he has like the horns, and he's like even bigger than he was, and he looks a lot more menacing.
I need to look up
Oh,
Super
okay.
Skeletor. I'm wondering if I've missed him.
like I said, watch the two Masters of the Universe series on Netflix.
Okay. I just imagine him flying around. I am Super Skeletor.
I know, right?
I know, right?
Which Mark Hamill voices Skeletor in the I know it's Mark Hamill, right? But Mark
once
Hamill,
you do the Joker like he does, then yeah, everything's
right.
Uh,
But he voices Skeletor.
Alan Tudyk tries. Alan Tudyk does a good job on Harley Quinn, but
Yeah.
it's not
Cool.
it's not Mark Hamill.
Yeah. But he does become Super Skeletor at the very end of season 1 in Revelations. And then in Revolutions, the second season, he's like full on Super Skeletor. So it's really good, man. You should check it out, especially if you're a fan of He-Man from back in the day.
I loved He-Man. Yeah.
What he did is he took the ending of the original He-Man cartoon and then expanded on that.
Nice.
So it lives in canon. It is something that lives in the universe of the original cartoon, but is a more cohesive story. And they also canonized the movie.
Oh, that's cool.
So
those 80s Saturday morning cartoons were fantastic.
Mhm.
Thundercats, He-Man. There was some obscure ones you may have not seen, like Ulysses.
I know Ulysses.
Remember Ulysses? My mum used to call it Useless Knees. But do you remember the theme tune to that? It was really catchy. Ulysses.
I remember it being one of my favorite themes because I came up in my cartoons in the early 90s. So I was getting a lot of runoff of the things that my brother liked.
He was banished. He was banished by his fellow gods or something, wasn't he? He wasn't allowed to return to Earth or something.
Right. And there was like the whole adventure of him trying to navigate all of that and everything like that.
It was an interesting mix because it was like Greek mythology with like spaceships and sci-fi.
Right. It was such a cool concept of all of that.
Yeah. They should do a movie of that.
I'm sure somebody has the rights tied up somewhere.
It's somewhere.
Yeah.
It's gonna happen.
Yeah. Voltron
80s is the new thing.
Yeah. Voltron is getting a live action on Amazon.
Oh.
Which I think
Henry Cavill's doing
I think Henry Cavill is involved in that, right?
Oh, cool.
Don Cheadle's in that too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so that's one to look out for, especially if you loved 80s cartoons. Voltron is getting and it's in development hell right now, but they are talking about doing Thundercats on Netflix. So yeah.
Thundercats ho!
Thundercats ho!
Oh. We're definitely nerding out. I'm in the right place for nerding out, right?
You really are. I'm going to ask you another hard question here before we get to the last one. Who wins in a fight? The methodical Victorian killer in Jack the Ripper. And when I say Jack the Ripper, I mean your version of Jack the Ripper. Or the undead brute with no conscience in The Executioner.
Ooh. I don't know The Executioner too well. Are you talking about my Jack the Ripper from Hollywood Hell?
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't know if you knew. So your character from what was it, Zombie Night? He has affectionately been called the Executioner.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
My Jack the Ripper was a bit of an idiot. He's a comedy. This show.
Yeah,
it won an Emmy, by the way. It won a regional Emmy. It was a web series made by San Diego State University. They were killing it back then.
Mm-hmm.
That was such a fun role. You know what's the weird fun fact about that was that, and I'll answer your question in a second.
Yeah.
When I did that show, it was like 2 episodes, I think it was, some of that. I did that the morning after breaking up with my then girlfriend. She broke up with me. I was miserable. And then I woke up the
Oh
next
my
morning,
gosh.
like really upset. I hadn't slept well, and I was like, I have to do a comedy today. If I can do this comedy whilst having just broken up with somebody and not feeling good, then I guess I can kind of do anything. So, and I did it somehow, you know. But anyway, it was a fun role, so much fun. Yeah, he's a bit of an idiot. He is dead, obviously, long gone. He is very easily swayed by the female gender. He is really thinks he's sorted his life out, but hasn't. You just put a knife in front of him, and he starts like losing his mind again. I think he's probably going to lose, unfortunately. I think anyone you put in front of that Jack the Ripper is probably going to win, to be honest with you.
But I mean, especially considering this other character that you played is a undead monster with no conscience that also helped you break your teeth in character movements and just killing people and whatnot. You know?
Yeah. I don't hold out much hope for Jackie Boy. I think I put my money elsewhere. he's a funny lad, though. It'll make you laugh. He's good to go down the pub with.
Right. So
just like don't put him close to the stabby objects.
Yeah, I mean, you could put him in a padded room and he'd somehow hurt himself, I think, you know. So yeah.
It's so good. So where can everybody follow you if they want to learn more about you, if they want to follow you on social media, if they want to learn all the things about Scott Butler?
At Scott Butler Act. I made sure to put it in my name because I've done a lot of interviews and sometimes people forget to mention it. At Scott Butler Act is my main tag for Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, all sorts of things. I don't use Snapchat and TikTok that much. I'm still an old boy trying to learn things, but yeah, I'm on all of those, mostly Instagram. You'll see all my crazy stuff on there, you know, Croc, acting, Agatha, cons, all the kind of crazy stuff. And hopefully more fun things to come. I appreciate the follows.
Awesome.
Absolutely, and we will be following close and keeping in touch because we definitely want to see more projects coming out. And if more of the Doctor comes out, then we gotta have another conversation about that. See if
definitely,
see if all the
I'd like to manifest you being in Doctor Who, playing a doctor in Doctor Who, just to kind of keep the Doctor streak alive. Like you could be a doctor, not the Doctor, or maybe the Doctor. I wouldn't mind you being the Doctor. That would be amazing.
When I was first posting, like, okay, my episode is out, I can now talk about it. Well, as in post it, you know, because you have to keep quiet for a long time. I put it out there, and then other people, obviously, like other things, are being put out there too. I had a number of people say the Doctor Who, because they were like, is this a tie-in with the Doctor Who universe? He's British. He could be a doctor, you know. That's not what it is. Again, speculation banner. Whoop, whoop, whoop. No, it's just having fun with it. But I grew up in Doctor Who. Yeah.
I was gonna say future manifesting. Scott Butler becomes a Time Lord.
Yeah, or maybe the Doctor ends up in Star Wars.
Oh God, that would be so crazy if because E.T. is now canon in Star Wars. So what's to say that we couldn't get Time Lords in Star Wars?
It's both Disney.
A representative.
Well, maybe not. Yeah, maybe not. I don't know if Time Lords will work with Doctor Who, but the Doctor from Agatha could end up in Star Wars.
Oh yeah.
There you go.
Somehow.
There you go.
Or you know what would be cool? You know what would be cool is the next time we see a scene with the Galactic Republic and there's the Galactic Senate, there's dialects there.
That would be funny.
Yeah.
That'd be kind of cool, right?
That'd be funny.
Exterminate.
No, it has been a pleasure, Scott, to have you on. It has been an absolute pleasure. You've been amazing. You're welcome back anytime you would like to come, whether you have anything to shill or not.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been an absolute pleasure. One thing I will say is next time, let's jump on early and I'll fix my camera.
No, all good, man. Like I said, next time maybe you come on and we just nerd out for the entire time.
Yeah.
Obviously, we're all a bunch of nerds, right? So
I'm so bummed because I'm using my nice fancy camera that I used to do self-tapes on to do this. I'm trying to be all fancy and now it's got glitcho vision the whole way through. So I apologize to anyone who's watching this and is like, all right, my eyes are hurting now. This is too much.
It seems like the audience has loved you the entire time, man. So it's been
you were great.
Or
So
maybe I just move like this in real life. It's just part of my
Exactly.
creature
yeah.
performance. Like, oh, look at
Use
me,
it.
pretty
Say
zombie.
this
I
is
would
your
say
this
someone
is
should
one
be
of
in
your special
Tron.
skills.
What was that?
Special skills.
Yes.
Glitching.
There you go.
Yes, it's part of my skills. Next time they do a Tron sequel and they need a glitchy computer avatar, then I'm your man.
So I'm saying is that
There you
definitely looks
go.
like something that should be in Tron. It looks great.
That's right. That's right. Yeah.
All right. Well, before we get going, Jen, any pluggables you want to do here?
I mean, you can put me up on the screen, but I'm just gonna say nope.
No
Nope.
pluggables. She's like, I'm not gonna plug anything because my page is not
It's a Saturday.
Saturday. She's like, I'm not here for this. Okay.
Wasn't even supposed to be here to.
I mean,
I love your quote, by the way. Survive the Witch's Road. That's awesome. That's cool.
Yeah.
I'm glad you survived.
yeah.
Thank you.
She put mine on there too, and I was like, oh, I'm the eye candy today. All right, cool.
She only
Yeah,
survived
really.
though because she's not inconvenient. If she'd been inconvenient,
That's
then it could have been over for
I you can ask my husband. I'm incredibly inconvenient, but he puts up with it. So.
her. When I sign pictures at the cons, you know, sometimes they say, "Oh, can you just put in, you know, that I'm an inconvenient woman or whatever." And I'm like, I feel bad putting it in there, so I always do like, "You're an inconvenient woman, but you're also awesome." So stupid.
I would like you, like, if we ever meet in person, I'm going to say, can you put that I'm a very convenient woman?
Yeah. That's the alternate option I put on there.
Right.
There you go.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, have something you want to discuss. Tell us what you're nerding out on and connect with us on all the social media places: Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. Yeah, we're still on Twitter, Twitch, TikTok, Threads, YouTube, Discord, Blue Sky, MySpace, Vine, GeoCities, Friendster, Second Life, AIM, Farmers Only, Christian Mingle, OnlyFans. It's only pictures of Aaron Watson's feet and Mandels the beard, Jamez's glasses, judging you because you haven't subscribed to Distance Nerding yet. Why are you waiting? And of course, everything she do will do for money, which there's not much he won't do for money. Of course, if you would like us to break up with your boyfriend, girlfriend, significant other, pet, schoolyard bully, annoying neighbor, or just tell us how much you enjoy us, hate us, or wish the internet would consume us completely and spit us out at the feet of every dialect and of course the doctor himself. And I don't mean Doctor Who. I mean the doctor. I don't think he has
From Agatha.
but they have the doctor from Agatha, since he's on screen with us right now. You can email us at distancenerding@aol.com, and we will read that live on air on the Tuesday show. So, guys, now is your chance. We will talk about it on the show. And again, if you want to nerd out on something, let us know. As always, I would like to thank our guest today, Scott Butler, for coming out and hanging out with us. Of course, Jen, I thank you for being, the one that keeps me sane on the show as it is. And I'd like to thank the sidewalk for keeping me off the streets. All right, well, ladies and gentlemen, we will see you guys later. As always, thanks, and keep nerding together. We'll see everybody on Tuesday.
Keep nerding together, everybody.
Yay!
Distance Nerding.